Hi everybody. Myself is Sumakyan Krishnamurthy. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to present today. Can you hear me? Is it nice
Yes,
and
we
clear?
can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, at the start I had some issues. I had to log out and then log back in. I'll try and share my presentation so I can run it from there. Um, um, Right, I'm going to talk about sustainability trends for high value infrastructure, um, and a little bit on the how intumescent coatings, one of our technologies, contribute towards the sustainability and green building credentials. Yeah. Um, okay, by 2050, the world's population is expected to exceed 9.8 billion. That's an increase of over 2 billion. So here are some of the facts that we are all aware of, and through organizations such as the Green Building Council. This is happening, and we need to adjust. Cities consume most of the world energy production. It is estimated that by 2050, cities will account for over 75% of the energy-related carbon dioxide. Yeah, we all love our cities, are drawn to them for living, working, leisure, but this is putting a burden on our energy resources and an impact on our planet. Some cities are going for carbon neutral. So green building and infrastructure is now becoming an integral part of achieving cities' sustainability ambitions. Since green building standards came into the market, they've now proven themselves as the better investment. Yeah. Despite upfront investment, green buildings deliver on increase in the building value, faster payback time, rating dependent, and lower operating costs, etc., etc. AkzoNobel's journey in sustainability started way back in 2000s. It's refining and developing the approach chemicals and coatings a company can make on the planet. We strongly believe that we can make a contribution to drive a more sustainable future for our planet and people. Our key approach is creating more value from fewer resources. Right, so that's what our focus is on: getting more, but by consuming less, doing more with less. Well, I'll give you a good example in here. Me being with the passive fire protection background, so the example is going to come from passive fire protection technology in itself. One of the things we offer to the clients is structural fire engineering, which aims at optimizing the fire protection thickness for individual steel structures. Okay, so where with a prescriptive approach, where let's say like we will be using 1 millimeter of coating, with the structural fire engineering approach, we might reduce that to, let's say, by 50%. So we will get the same level of fire protection, but with much lesser resource, lesser material. The main challenges we see with green buildings for the paints and coatings market are some of these, right? The impact, ingredients, transparency, digital partnership, and performance. So impact, measuring and communication, impact terms such as the carbon footprint, and creating certifications such as environmental product declaration. So how is that impact measured, right? And how is that communicated? How can we certify the products, etc. Ingredients, selecting the ingredients for a product on their impact terms. One of the examples is looking into renewables. Transparency, The healthy building trend also means that a manufacturer has to become a lot more open and transparent about these ingredients. Digital sharing this data across a number of platforms that enable quicker and more sustainable product selection. Partnerships, all these efforts want a closer cooperation of all the stakeholders in the market. Performance. Lastly, also to integrate a performance promise into the sustainability promise, longer lasting products, less paint and coatings application. More with radically less on many surfaces. AkzoNobel as a paints and coatings company also ultimately by these approaches will be looking to sell less product, but the product offer to be of a step change performance in order to protect the protect the assets for the life of the assets, say 60 years. Some of the conventional systems that are available today probably last for maybe like 10 years or something like that. So you'll be painting those assets over a period of time, right? And by going for long durable systems, we are going to reduce that the number of times it is required to repaint these systems. Key tool, life cycle assessment, as per for the green building product selection. One of the key tools we fully support is the LCA, the life cycle assessment, to help with the green building product selection. It clearly looks at the impact and covers an intensive look at the ingredients chosen by our chemists, the production process, and use until end of life. So right from a cradle to grave approach. In terms of product certifications, like how can we certify the products to to get slightly different or differentiated from the rest of the product range? There are a few options available. So there are different levels to go to. It's down to all the parties to push for more. We also need to take into the commercial aspects into account as well, like some of these certifications could increase the cost base, right? The most common ones are the environmental product declarations. It's an externally certified eco footprint. It helps to promote via the EPD network. It's readily accepted for green building certifications such as LEEDs, eco footprint, and carbon footprint. So these are some of the types of product certifications that are available. Our industry has traditionally not been releasing much information on the chosen ingredients other than providing the legal required documentation for HSE and labels. We should encourage the use of materials that are healthy and socially acceptable. We at AkzoNobel strongly believe in that and support providing the information needed. Some of the examples like where we can utilize to share this information are like Declare, Green Screen, product health declarations, REACH, which is popular in Europe, all with their unique ways to create transparency. Sharing data on product impact and ingredients across a number of platforms enable quicker and more sustainable product selection. A number of startups, most established and more established providers are occupying the space for now. One of the common examples is Portico by the Healthy Building Network. Google also aims to achieve at least a LEED Gold certification for all its projects. The LEED certificate includes mandates for recycled content and regional materials, making it even harder because products that contribute to these credits must also meet Google's avoidance criteria. So a registration in Portico is made a requirement. The number and variety of tools that digitalize data and hold this data is a challenge to manage by manufacturer. Okay, from coatings point of view, a small impact, but a big contribution towards sustainability. right? We would put these in under the very broad categories, like making the building last longer, making the asset last longer, reduce energy consumption towards a process, like when towards manufacturing, transportation, or application maintenance, etc. Reduce impact in the construction phase, like minimize the number of codes, use less energy, all that sort of things, and increase the safety and well-being of people, like when environmentally friendly products and sustainable supply base, all these things. We're going to see like how epoxy PFP technology fits in the sustainability and green building credentials, and then ticks off all these categories that I just spoke about. High-rise buildings are on the rise. People know that. Like when these days, getting a small plot of land and then building your own house in a city is not within everybody's reach. So high-rise buildings on the rise. Majority of these modern-day constructions utilize steel for structural frame. I think, well, in India as well, it is slowly catching up. Bit slow in the consumption of steel, but it is very well catching up. Steel requires protection from corrosion and from fire. Intumescent coatings is one of the very most popular choice of protection of structural steel in high-rise buildings. And for those of you who are not very familiar with what an intumescent coating is, one-line definition is a coating that reacts in a fire, swells several times its original thickness to produce a carbonaceous char, and it insulates the steel from reaching higher temperatures. I have a small clip to show how this works in reality, and I hope this works. Yeah, it works. This is a very small panel protected with an intumescent coating and thrown in our one of our furnaces at UK. You can see, like, when normal organic coating just burn and burn away, whereas intumescent coatings, they react in a fire and they keep expanding several times its original thickness. It's almost like having a foam insulation surrounding the structural steel, which does help to insulate and keep the steel cooler for longer duration. Thereby, it prevents the structure from collapsing, and it gives very valuable time for people to evacuate the building. Okay. The reaction keeps on happening as long as we have the active material in. And once all the active material is consumed, then the char tends to get degraded. And after that, the temperature of the steel will go back up. Talking about the epoxy intumescent coatings, there are a lot of technologies in intumescent coatings that you may all be aware of. One technology that fits within the green building and supports sustainability efforts is the modified epoxy amine-based one. It does all these it contributes to the green building credentials and still provides excellent aesthetics and excellent corrosion. In a built-up environment, these coatings are going to last for the life of the asset. So if you're going to paint the main column or the main frame in a building, you will never ever be have to go back and recoat the steel for maintaining the fire protection. So it's an excellent improved longevity. We have excellent track record for these products. I mean, these products were very, very popular in the offshore industry, oil and gas industry. They've been in the market for over 40 years, and we have excellent track record in some of the very worst environmental conditions. What they do for the infrastructure segment is they do provide thin film capabilities, like when in the oil and gas sector, where we used to have like 10 millimeter or 12 millimeter, whereas in the infrastructure is now probably around 2 millimeter or 3 millimeter to get the required level of protection for the asset. Right. So in the process, it increases the production efficiency, reduces site work, coding schedules, etc. greatly improves productivity. Like, I mean, I'll show in the next slide, like how other technologies take longer duration to complete the protection required for a piece of steel, whereas this one, the entire thing can be done in a day.
I think we are running out of the time. If you can.
All right. Okay. I'll just touch base upon, and these are technologies that comes in with 100% volume solids and environmental product declarations, etc. To conclude, achieving this sustainable planet is doing more with less, and doing this together. In line with the sustainability development goal, partnerships for goals is so important to work together to overcome the green building challenges and create new opportunities. Our experience shows that on large infrastructure projects, the cooperation between the stakeholders, such as the owner, architect, contractor, and green building advisors, delivers the best outcome for the partners, the structure, and in turn for the planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tokshi. Thank you, Mr. Sudhanshu Nagar, and everyone.
Yeah, is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So